Hey, what's up? Now, I'm practically redoing all those videos I did the other night, with the exception of that first one, because all the other ones, in my opinion, when I was doing the editing, they were extremely long and overdrawn, and I used way too much example. So, my opinion. So, I'm redoing them. I scrapped it off, and I was like, screw it, I'll just redo them, because I pretty much already know what I was talking about. Now, for this video, is pretty much about the antagonist, in all forms of media. And I'm talking like animes, books, video games, comic books, literature, all of them, not all villains though. Now, there are some villains that I can actually use as an example, but there are some out there where they weren't really a strong villain, or in your opinion, especially my opinion, you can see their point of view, where you can be like, honestly, what you're doing is messed up, but at the same time it makes sense, and you're not really per se a villain. I mean, you may be doing villainous acts, but it's like there's a lot of excuses, or reasons where you can be like, that's not really a villain, you know you know what I mean. So, like, for example, Resident Evil 7. Now, for those of you, I am about to spoil it. If you did a good job of avoiding all those walkthroughs, those playthroughs, people talking about it, you know, pretty much avoiding spoilers, I major prop, because I was doing the same thing, because I had to wait till my friend was done playing his copy so I can borrow it, and I made sure he didn't tell me anything, because I'm not, I'll get into a spoiler thing in another video, but for this game, I just felt like, you know what, I actually want to experience it myself, because this is Capcom finally giving Resident Evil its horror genre back. So I want to experience it as, you know, no pretty much spoiler free. So anyway, after beating the game, and I got the ending where I saved Mia. Oh, spoiler alert! I will give some spoilers in this video, so I'll give you guys some sort of a signal to let you know when I'm done talking about spoilers. So right now, here, I'm about to spoil it, whatever. But if you don't care for spoilers, then you can keep watching. So 3, 2, 1. Again, like I was saying, I got the ending where I saved Mia, but Evelyn in the game, in my opinion, is not really a strong villain. I mean, yeah, she's the final boss, final character, but when you get close to the end of the game, when you get to the laboratory, which I feel kind of weird, because it's like it was under the mansion, so to me it didn't make sense. Like, I mean, I understand, their son was a genius, and and all that other stuff. They depict that throughout the whole gameplay. But the fact that the lab was under the house, I mean, come on, that's kind of fair-fetched. But anyway, I don't feel that Evelyn is a villain per se, because yes, this company created her to be a bioweapon, and when you get close to the end of the game, it pretty much explain, because they show different snippet, different clipboards, paper, all them briefings, the letters. You find out that Evelyn, E001, is the only successor to all their experiments. Problem is that, she's a little girl. She's a 10-year-old girl. Now, they didn't explain whether she was a bioweapon that was molded into a little girl, or did they take an embryo and just started experimenting on it until it got to that age where it just completely, I mean, it's like they never explained that one, like got in that much deep detail. But regardless, it's still a little girl, and this little girl, all she wanted was a family. And if I could see it in her point of view, I mean, especially when you finally create the antidote and you inject it into her, you see Evelyn's true form, where it's the grandmother, and it's like, well, not essentially the grandmother, but the old lady, and her response was, "Why does everybody hate me?" And I kind of felt sad, I mean? Well, I felt bad because if you really think about it, from her point of view, since she was a little girl, she's always been poked. She's always been cut, stabbed. You don't. When it comes to science, especially scientists, when they do experiments, they are very focused and driven. And in one of the briefing letters that you see, there's a little picture where you see her behind, in a room, but behind a glass window. And she's like, and you see on the other side just a bunch of scientists. And you see her literally like looking at them like as if, oh, that's not the signal. That wasn't the signal, but yeah, if you stopped here and you saw my hand up, that wasn't a signal. I'm still talking about it. So yeah, still spoiled territory. I'll give a countdown, so you will know. But anyway, just her hand behind the window, and she's like looking at everybody. Now, even Lucas, the son, the smart son, in one of his letters that he sent to the company or emailed the company, it pretty much says, Evelyn, I don't know if you guys implemented in her, as a want or is it something that she desires, but either way, it's still fucked up because all she wants is a family. And granted, I think Evelyn, she understands she has power. She understands she's different. But it doesn't negate the fact that she felt like she don't belong. And in the room with the nursery, the children's room, where you see all the toys and everything, when you go to that special corridor, if you notice, in a room like that, why would there be a special corridor? And you see like this, I don't know if it was a mannequin. I feel like it might have been a child, it deteriorating and everything. Now remember, in the briefing, they mentioned they've done these experiments. There was so many others, but they failed. She was the only one that succeeded. And in my way of thinking is she might have had association with them, those other experiments, but they've died in front of her or whatever. So that's why if you notice when you grab the other piece of the antidote and you turn around, you see Evelyn's leg and she just runs away. Like out of, fear or, out of getting caught or whatever. It added tension, but at the same time it made sense to me where it's like, even in that one picture where you see the, Evelyn and you just see her marking all these people saying, my family, she still don't feel like she belonged. And that's why, Mia, which was unconscious for 3 years, which, again, But anyway, Mia, she sees for the first time as her mother. Granted, Mrs. Baker became her mother, but it's like she felt naturally bonded with Mia. Because even in the letters, it states that she will always visit Mia's prison cell and just watch over her. That's because she felt a real serious, strong connection. Even when Mia goes in her flashback, after she goes to her flashback, Evelyn asks her, can we still be a family like before? Because if you really think about it, Evelyn, I feel like because she felt like she don't belong, and if you really think about it, she didn't really spread her powers out and infected a whole city or anything. She stayed confined in a house. And granted, there were people coming in that she infected, but because she knew of her powers and she know how serious and how crazy it can get and how well she can control people or kill them off, she didn't really do that. She stayed confined in the house. And she stayed with the Baker's family because she just wanted a family. That's what she wanted. So in a way, it's like she not really a villain because she just felt out of place. She wanted to belong. She's still a little girl, a little kid. Of course, obviously because age progression, she becomes an old lady. But even though she controlled the bakers, wouldn't it make sense that she would have the bakers, especially Lucas, sort of create meds or find out from Mia herself, how to get these meds so she won't age? Especially when she have all those powers and stuff where she can control people, but she didn't. So because of that, she aged progressively. But she still had that want and desire of having a family. That's why I feel like, granted, she's the final boss. Granted, she's the main villain of the story, but in my opinion, the company that created her is, and yeah, that's just how I feel. It's like Evelyn is not really per se a villain. She's just a villain because of story. So yeah, now that you know what her motives is, that's why I feel like, you know what? Yeah, I kind of felt bad because, like I said, when she states, "Why does everybody hates me?" It's like even though she had the Bakers as part of her family and everything, she still probably sees their consciousness where they constantly still reject her. So yeah, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back. Hopefully, that didn't really spoil much for you. And if you know, I know it was kind of long, but what's your example of villains that weren't really villains? Like, what I mean? Like, in terms of literature, video games, comic books, all that stuff. I mean, it just, yeah, you can't really fault most villains. I mean, yeah, there are some villains there that they are hardcore villains and stuff. Like, you can definitely say, yeah, you're a villain, or yeah, you're a bad guy, and all that other stuff. But what are your examples of villains that you feel were not essentially villains? Like they have where you can feel sympathy or empathy for them, for their motives, where you can be like, yeah, it's screwed up what you're doing, but I understand. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's about it. That's the end of this video, and I'm about to go work on the other one. But like I said, yeah, I just want to find out in the comment section what you feel, about different villains, or what's the one character or probably characters that you feel isn't really a villain, but you can easily see becoming a protagonist in their own right, but you feel doesn't deserve the villain label. All right then, later.